Okay, so good morning, everyone. It's our sharing session of HRM again. And this time we make it very, very special because it's a sharing session with a panel of very experienced HR practitioners on change management. And as you all know that we love hearing stories. So this time we are just prepared to hear a lot of stories on change management. And today we have a number of HR professionals who is going to share. And I would like each of them to share a little bit about themselves before we start the discussion on this topic. Okay, and so firstly, we will have June to tell us a little bit about yourself. June, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm June. I'm working for HRs, even in Asia Pacific world more than 18 years. In the past, I facing quite a lot of different changes in human resources, even in change management. Because in my whole journey in human resources, when I was very young, of course, I support and sponsor by some senior HR leaders. Currently, in the last 12 years, I'm starting to working as HR business partner and see some professional HR to facing directly dealing with some senior executive, because I need to assist them to working together to working for making some changes around the organizations. So that's why Rita would like to share my PowerPoint, or I just would like to talk first.
Yes, because okay, you share your PowerPoint towards the end of the session because I would like to have the
Share my
last question on stories
Yeah.
from each of you. Then thereafter you can share your PowerPoint. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, sure. That's great.
Okay.
That's sure.
Okay. Good.
So
Good. Good. So next we will have Mr. Naver. May Naver, you tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, hi all. I'm Nava. I'm from Malaysia, and I'm with Aker Solutions, which is a Norwegian oil and gas company. So I've been in the industry for a couple of years, and getting my experience through what I'm doing now and what I'll be doing moving forward in human resources. So I'm just here to share my experience as well as learn from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nava. And then we have Supra. Supra, can you just tell us a little bit yourself? Hello, Supra, can
Hi,
you hear me?
hi. Sorry. Okay, you can call me Mira. Good
Mira.
morning,
Okay.
and
Okay,
hello to
Mira.
everyone who's on this session. Yes, I am from Crystal Crown Hotel, Petaling Jaya. Currently, my experience is a large part of my experience is with the hospitality industry. Prior to that, I have worked with engineering and in retail. I have about maybe 2 decades of experience in human resource, and have come about with some kind of changes which I don't mind sharing with all of you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And as for Rena and Esther, would you like to share a little bit about yourself? Because I know that you have put yourself on the mute mode. Okay, if not, then we just go ahead because originally we have 5 people on the panel, but it seems that 2 cannot make it today. So we have 3, right? Never mind. I'm pretty sure that it will be a great session. Okay, so my first question is, to your knowledge, what is change management? Because the theme of the day is change management, right? So maybe we have June first. June, would you like to share with us on what your interpretation on this subject?
Okay, for my interpretation about the change management, of course, we have 2 levels. One level is in regarding for the organizations. When we have dealing with some changes, the people have normally, even in organizations or individual people, we need to have some facing some 6 stages, because for the change we being a lot of impact. For example, we are very fierce, we get lost, and the second is a lot of doubt even in the organization around the people, because most of the time in the organization level they will feel in a mess, they're confused, they have a lot of fluctuations, so even in people level as well. And the stage three, most of the people they will feel discomfortable because a lot of changes, because in even the internal environments or external environment maybe be impact about in the organizations or external environments. in the stage 4, maybe a lot of people will think a lot of we need to explore new way to discovery. What can we do if this gone through this dangerous zone? And then in the stage 5, maybe a lot of the people in even the organizations to settle down and gone through the very serious dangerous zone. We need to have the understanding what is the situations, and ultimately we need to migrate changes, because during the changes we need to gone through the whole sections about even in the internal and external environments. We are being impacted, and we have a lot of struggle, a lot of changes, and ultimately how can we cope with in between even a lot of shaking about the organizations, the people shaking, a lot of changes, a lot of fears. How can we integrate about the people to become settled down the new structure, new environment, even in the business organization level, but in internal, in people level, we need to tune, even to gone through the whole stages and let them to align with the company organization structures and new changes and new structure. How can we transform the company and again to integrate the people to transform together? So that's why ultimately we need to have a settled down to integrated, migrate everything to, is the global and corporate alignment with the company and the personal. This is my my understanding about the change management. This is 2 level about in human resources and people level. Yeah.
Thank you, June. And then while we are sharing, or while we are answering questions, or if you have any questions, just feel free to ask, because we want to make it interactive. We would like to drive more discussions, because every one of us have our own background and also our experience, especially on this topic. Okay, so Nava, can you just tell us your understanding on this change management?
Hey, hi. So my view on change management is, I mean, I'm looking at the broader picture. This process can be applied anywhere, not specifically in an organization perspective, but something that happens in our daily life would also mean that there could be some process of change management adapted to make sure that it is right in the right manner, and then we manage it wisely. But having said that, in the context of today on organizational change, I think it is more of a process of planning and implementing a change and a change mindset in an organization in such a way that it minimizes employee resistance and also the cost to the organization, while simultaneously maximizing the effectiveness of the change effort. So in a nutshell, if we put it way that, okay, this is where we are, this is where we want to go in the future, and what we need to do to make that happen is the change concept. There are many models and ways that we are looking at it, and one of the simplest way to look at it is the Cortez 8-step model to understand how change management can be done effectively in an organization. But we can actually discuss later once we get into those kind of. Thank you.
And okay, how about Mira?
Okay, change for me is how would organizational change, and as Nawa said, change is in every level. Okay, how we are embracing change is first of all is to make sure that the concept and the idea of change is planted across the board, or rather across the organization. Change is inevitable, change is required, change is mandatory. Once we can actually deliver this section of it to the employees, and they know they have no choice but to move on with the changes that is coming, we get them involved in the change. We incorporate them in that change, in the decision making of the change. Once this is done, then implementing will be easy and the resistance level will be much lower.
I see. Yeah, I can't agree with you more. Yeah, that is true.
Yes, because you need to get them involved even prior. I mean, the organization, the employees, the staff, horizontally, vertically, diagonally. Everybody needs to know that there is some change coming in. Get them involved, get them excited about this change, and then slowly start implementing it. Because if you just bring about change, the resistance is going to be heavy company-wide. There's people fearing change. There's people worrying about change. But just make change into something exciting, something good, something positive. And yes, yeah, okay, that will be, that's the way, I mean, I personally feel that it should be brought about, organizational change should be brought about in the organization.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Anything to add from our panel or from our audience? If no, then we'll move on to the next questions. David earlier talked about the keys or some of the models which help us to facilitate change management effectively, right? So I really look forward to hearing that so that I can get some tips from him. So maybe Navar, if you don't mind, can you start first with these some kind of models or some of the keys to facilitate change management effectively?
Okay, sure. All right. So there are many models out there that we can actually use to implement a change in a very effective way. But one of the most famous one, of course, is the Cortez eight-step model. But before even we look at the Cortez eight-step model, there is something that's very simple in terms of the change behavior, which is that before we implement something at an organizational level, there are three steps. One is that unfreeze the current environment. See that everybody is working with the understanding that what they have now, everyone, if you go to an organization, 80% of the people commonly will feel that they are doing fine. They're just perfectly fine. But are we still relevant to the market today? Are we still making money to the extent of what we want to achieve on the bigger objective of the organization is the biggest question that we need to understand. And mostly these change instructions or these change innovations will come from top. So the CEO or the board of directors will decide that, okay, are we being sustainable in a long term? Are we in the right direction? Is our business model is the right one that for us to move forward? And what is hindering the entire process for us to make the developments in the way that we do business in future? And when that happens, then becomes a need for change. So a need for change is, of course, we need to assess the entire environment now. What are we? Where are we? And then we like, okay, this is where we want to go on the new mission and vision of the company. And then, okay, for us to go from here to here, what is the need and what we need to do? So of course, we need to unfreeze first to understand what we are, and then say that, okay, what we are doing today is not good, or what we are doing today can be improved a lot. So unfreeze, and then you make the change. And then after the change becomes constant, or change becomes something that has been accepted by everyone and it becomes part of the DNA of the company, then you can refreeze, then you lock. Typically, this happens in an environment where a culture of the organization is not aligned or not helping the organization to grow. And that comes in the next step, which is when we look at the Cortez 8-step model, which you can easily Google and find out. But the 8 steps are, one is that create sense of urgency. So the number one factor that we need to do is that the organization need to understand that if we continue operate in the way that we are operating today, then it's not going to be sustainable. Sooner or later, we'll be out of business, or sooner or later, we will not be able to compete with our competitors, or sooner or later, we will not be able to be financially sustainable. So create sense of urgency. Number two is form a guiding coalition. So this is, you need to have a working committee. You need to have who are your key people, who's going to drive this transformation. And of course, you also need to look into the change agents, because most of the time, the challenge is that we have a big vision, but we do not have the right people to actually go to the ground and do stuff. And that's where the change agents, who are part of the people who's working at the organization at different levels, is very, very critical to the entire change management process. Then go to number 3, which is you develop an inspiring vision. What is the biggest objective? What is the bigger objective of the company? How do you translate to something very simple for everyone in the organization to understand? Sometimes our vision and mission at the board level is very futuristic. We want to be the best energy company in the world. Yes, it seems very simple if you put it in a line. But then how does that transform into a person who's just maybe a salesperson on the floor, or salesperson on the grade of the roles. How does it translate to me? What I need to do to become so that we can become the best energy company in the world. So that has to be conveyed in the right manner. And the step 4, of course, the conveying of the new vision. Step 5 is empowering others to enact the vision. So you have the vision, and this is what we need to do. You cascade it to different levels in a different ways. How my role or what I do today will impact the biggest vision of the company. Step 6 is to generate short-term wins. This is very important because in a change management process, the quick wins are the one that will define what you are trying to achieve. Because if everything is a long term, everything is going to be only we will only realize after 2 to 3 years. That's not going to keep people motivated towards what we are trying to achieve. So there need to be a separate section, which is that one is we focus on the quick win, which will be able to achieve within a period of 3 to 6 months. And then you also look into the other processes where it will take time between 3 to 5 years to achieve. An entire change process normally, typically in an organization, cannot happen less than 24 months. It normally takes at least 5 years to completely transform into what you want to be, but it takes time. So we need to break it down to what to do and when to do. And the step 7 is to sustain the acceleration of the vision. So once you have the quick win, people see that, okay, this is happening, this is changing, I see progress. Now how I can contribute more, and then you start sustaining the motivation. Along this process, you will have lots of difficult decisions to do. Sometimes that you need to break the company into a few different levels. You need to maybe go into a process of letting go. You need to also focus a lot on the performance management of people. Sometimes you need to make a hard decision of exiting underperformers. Then you also need to look at who are not aligned to the bigger objective of your mission. Sometimes that you will have high performers, you have superstars, but then they are not aligned to your mission. That means that they're not going to be helpful for you to sail in the same way for you to reach your objective. So that needs to happen. And the final step is that to institute permanent change. When this becomes constant, meaning that all the changes has happened, that means that you now had a new step. You now have a new a line of sight that this is what we will embark going forward, and that becomes the norm of the company. Changing from what you have been before with the culture and the mindset to change to the new setup, and this is the way of how we're going to grow as a company. So what will happen then is once you come to a process of unfreezing, meaning that, okay, you refreeze the entire environment. The new hires that you will do, you will make sure that they are aligned to your new behavior. They will align to your new culture of the organization. So the entire change process can be effective in a manner of how Kotter's step model is. Okay, thank you.
I see. Okay, so later, Nava, I look forward to your stories, because I really I really look forward to how you applied these in your real stories and what the outcome is. Okay, so next one is Mira. Mira, we like to share about the keys to facilitate change management effectively. Mira?
Theories. I'm just going to talk about the practical side that we have implemented and how it has worked for us. Okay. Of course, change generally comes top down because the organization is embracing changes to move ahead in the new arena of work. So the system is all set. I mean, the ideas are set up, but the strategies are a little bit filtered down. How are we going to get through? So we get involved with departments. And we incorporate how each department is contributing to this change, so they're aware of it, get them comfortable with it, assure them that this change is not really going to hurt anybody, but only make things a lot better, because when change comes, people generally resist, fear, and we are so used to traditional methods, like I said. And we're so comfortable in the comfort zones that we have already been in. So get them incorporated, get everybody involved in that change. That's what we do. Then each department comes up with their own strategies, how they're going to contribute towards this change. And it's further realigned at the management team. And once we have framed it, we come up with mini programs or whatever programs that we have identified to help build the change down and set the system. And before you could realize it, you would find that it's filtering. There will be some people who may resist, but when they see like others who have embraced change and moving on and feeling very comfortable with it, you would find more and more people moving into it. So it's basically how we do it is everybody's embracing that change. Everybody's involved in that change. And we don't just come and throw the idea down. We make them feel as if they brought about that change. That's basically it. The employees themselves brought that change to the workplace. But the hidden agenda is the management gets to make the changes that they wanted to. Am I okay?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well said.
Yes. So
Okay,
in our case, the practical side is, yes, company wants the changes, brings about the changes, but we don't go about it in a very large way. We slowly get first the management team involved, and then from there they get their people involved, and everybody's involved in this change, coming up with suggestions how to reach the goals.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you, Mira.
You too.
Okay, thank you, June. What is your sharing on the keys to facilitate change management effectively?
Yes, can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes. I would like to share my story. My story is this approach is making changes through our make use of the job redesign, because we believe that in the past we are facing using different approach about currently, because we recently in the last 2 to 3 years, a lot of changes in the business environment, even in US environment, in Asia Pacific, in Hong Kong or in China. So that's why we would like to make some changes through the job redesign, because we make use of the together to create restructure about job duties. We use the GPS. GPS means grow, perform, and success. At the same time, we would like to have redesign the job, and then at the same time, we would like to make alignment with the company strategies and helping employees to set their growth to fit in about the company strategies, yes, externally. But internally, in the personal alignment side, we would like to make sure individual, employee, and managers to discuss and uncover the personal motivator and driver. So that's why we would like to assist and helping employee to have individual to realize their purpose, to take part and contribute in the company, to make them success, make the contributions to the company. It is much deeper connections with the business and the employee individually. At that time, so that's why at that time, we would like to make use of the approach. It's a smarter goal setting approach, and to make use about the job redesign. At that time, we would like to create a people experience. For example, the challenging case is the staff at that time is facing a lot of staff high turnover rate, losing the market shares, because losing the clients, because the client have a lot of unsatisfactory about the customer service. Is not reliable about our services, and both staff retention engagement become very low. Hiring hitting rate is very low throughout the years, because the company is difficult. The reputations and morale, a lot of issue is the cannot attract talents to come in the company. So at that time, we would like to make use to the system thinking approach. This is 4D analysis to assist and make use of the SWOT, the marketing SWOT, to talking with the senior executive and management to diagnose what is the situation. For example, we need to diagnose what with the senior executive and the business leaders about to understand the current situations, and then what would they would like to go for in the coming 2 to 3 years, what in the business strategies, and design what is the situation, the analysis, the case, and develop a new work design. And the people at the same time, we need to do the people assessment, and then we need to deploy the new role for the new operating model, including the workflow task and new role, and develop of course, for the sustainable development is about implements we need to find the sustainable ways for the new model and make sure to embed the changes. This is the preparation is very important. We need to decide how to highly engage the job instead of just rely on the people individually. They would like to have a lot of loss and doubt, and the workflow is become in a mess. Because at that time, the leader support is critical, because if we didn't have the leadership support, it's difficult to launching, and even we cannot make the alignment about the business strategies. So that's why we need to, after we have make the analysis and diagnosis, we need to have hosting a lot of different rating HR, a lot of policy and procedures, employee handbook, because we would like to have very clear structures and rule and regulations and make the standard to let the people and employee understand, make the people power of it, because we have a very clear policy and procedures, employee handbook, and even let them to rethink and review the policy and practice and staff contract, because it's very important. If we believe that the old way and old situations maybe cannot help at that moment, ask the people to review, ask the employee to review their policy and procedure and tactics. And then at the same time, as a HR, we also need to ignore the current established HR best practice, because we believe that even in the past, we have a very good practice, but may not be sustained, may not be, can cope with, can deal with the new business challenge. So that's why the people become a lot of confused. So that's why at that time, even the review and we need to ignore the past HR best practice. So that's why we need to treat the employee to become, everyone have an adult equal relationship with employee. Everybody to become an equal relationship. They can voice out their opinions, their suggestions, make a full announcement from the senior executive, because we would like to make some changes and would like to go together to facing the changes about the business environment. And then, of course, we need to comply with the local law and protect company against the real threat and the situations. Because we would like to delight our customer. At that time, it's very critical. So that's why we we even the senior management, senior executive, make the very clear announcement. We would like to make some changes. Throughout the diagnosis, of course, we need to hold a 4D analysis and then leadership support. And the phase 3, we need to starting to individual discussions with employee, and even top down for employee from department level, department management level, and supervisory and employee, because we need to review, we design the job descriptions. Sometimes we need to have will eliminate some duplication role, increase autonomy and accountability, create more meaningful job title. That's very important. And then through the performance review and coach, we would like to make use of some smarter goal, because currently this generation, particular for some young generations, they would like to grow together. They don't want to have a lot of mass and confuse and duplication work and duplication flow and double standard. We do it again, the flow process become more mass. So that's why we would like, even they would like to how to cope with their own dream. We can try to eliminate some they believe that cannot help and achieve their personal growth. So that's why, for example, in the past we would like to have some different duplication flow and work for across different departments. Everybody using the same communications, using the same way or different way communication with the customer. Yet the approval process does to become a lot of mass and wasting a lot of time. So that's why we would like to redesign some word and eliminate some word, maybe have a one focal point to consolidate everything. So that's why we would like to tackle and hit some uncover personal dream and personal growth. So that's we would like to align with the company strategies and growth. And so that's why the job design is I would like to make sure the employee can have to align with the new customer journey, because the new customer journey, they would like to have more personal touch customer service. So that's why at that time the result is customer satisfaction can increase. And we can see the KPI and measurement is we can shorten the settlement lead time. If the customer is have satisfactory, they will have easier to have shorten the settlement lead time. That's quite important. So that's why our cash flow turnaround can be increased, and they have increased repeat orders and gain more new customers. So that's why there's and even the staff get more job satisfactions, they become more interesting and meaningful, because they can have more communication and interaction with customers and staff. They can have more accountability and autonomy, because they can immediately can make some decisions, even facing with the client and the employee. They can become more interesting, because they can make the right judgment at her own level, because we're clear in that level. And that's why we can reduce some absence of job satisfactions and increase some retention rates. That's very important. And at the same time, we would like to make use of some skill sets to manage about for example, some people become burnout because in the past, a lot of people may be facing just rely on one or two person high performer. They need to have working 24 hours, because every customer or every client will go to them. So that's why we would like to try to assist them to engage them and put it together about the make use of some technique. For example, we would like to have a key resources interview. And then even we would like to delegate, and some staff coaching is not rely on annual performance appraisal. We would like to perform informal coach. For example, if they have some issue as senior management or as managerial level, they would like to conduct a staff coaching, make use of 30 minutes staff coach to get them to have some coffee break, to go to the office lounge, to talking with them, what is the situation, they can help them. And then staff counseling and hotline and management are wandering around, because make use of some HR, they would like or some line managers, they enjoy to manage, to make sure what is their subordinate or peer level, what is their situations. And then we would like to suggest have two-way communications and suggestion plan of management focus group, because as I mentioned, even the we design of job descriptions or workflow process, we need to have management focus group, have the senior leaders support and to support us to launching about the to deploy or executions about the situations. Because if we can, every line managers or department managers can manage their peer or subordinate to make sure what is their can achieve their individual growth and what is their individual career expectations, make the alignment with the company alignment. This would be easier to retain the employee and motivate them. This is a sustainable way to let them to a highly engagement job, instead of just have an imbalance about the workflow and duplication work and still workflow together across the company. So that's why the early preparation and strategies planning is in key about to have such changes. And then the third thing about the great leaders would like there is really we need the senior management to sponsor and support this kind of change management. For example, even in the past, the management may be very busy. They forgot some recognize, even some not only recognize some big win, even a small win or heartbreaking, and make the right judgment, not the popular decisions. Because sometimes we tend to have we sit back and make use of the how can we recognize some even a small win, because for example, even a small teamwork, they will forgot about this. And we need to remind them they have the courage to be nude and visible, because in the past, we didn't have some communications openly and earlier. current generations, young staff, they would like to prefer to have the senior management or management level to have the courage to visible what is the situation we are facing, what kind of difficulty, to let them understand that the company, the business already dropped down and we lose a lot of business. We need to face it together. We can grow it together. So that's why we make use of the GPS and we charge the old people or old staff, or even they have very young talent and young staff and young generations in the middle. We need to, they're working together. So that's why, and then of course we need to have the taking care of the people. Of course, this is where necessary. Sometimes if the company have some issue, maybe we need to have some sit back together. We need to make the right decision before we launch out and well prepare. But we need to have the courage where necessary. Is the some generation currently we need to have facing their challenges. They have a lot of challenging questions, a lot of challenging issues. We need to face it and well prepare. How can we deal with them and inspire them to reach higher? At the same time, they need to understand we have everybody, if they would like to go to high positions, they need to own their mistake. They have the responsibility. So that's why that's very important is the quick leader or senior leader to have the sponsor about these situations. I believe this quite important about how can we success to design high engagement job and for the change management. This is my story because this is my current story. I would like to share because even my story is not a very a lot of the populations about the people, but that is very important to bring it up. How can we change the situation and dealing with the current business environments? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, June. So you just share with you your own story about change management. So maybe we have Nava. Nava, one question for you. They wanted to know the name of the model you just mentioned earlier. Can we have the name again?
Sure, it's Kotter's 8-step model. Kotter, Kotter's, S with an S, Kotter's 8-step model. Just Google and you'll get it.
Okay. Thank you.
Kotter's
So
8-step.
can you share with us your story, especially on how you apply this model in your real life?
Okay, sure. So I'll just keep it briefly because I think we just want to make sure that we spend a lot of time talking about this. So with whatever that I've shared earlier in terms of the Kotter's 8-step model and also regards to how it is in theory will look like, it is not really would be able to adapt it the same way in real life, of course. So there will be a lot of challenges. So a recent program that I worked is a transformation program for one of the organization. And what we have done, like what June has shared and also Mira has shared, is the how we did it is we set the vision on top that this is what we're going to achieve, and the reason why we did so is because we saw that sustainability in the long term as what we are doing now is not really achievable. So that has been set at the top level management, but at the same time, then once that vision has been established, we go into involving every part of the business and every employee in the organization. Of course, you have maybe about 20 to 25% engaged workforce, and the rest will be like many different reasons that they do not want to be part of it, or they feel that this is not really something for them. And the biggest challenge we had in that is that in terms of how they resist the change. So we set a business model that this is what we want to be and how we want to be. And the main key problem that we had is in the resistance is that we have people who don't really care about the change that we want to happen, or the business model that we want to adopt based on the visions of the leaders. They don't see the problem. First of all, they don't see that there is a problem. And this is the biggest challenge. Because if you don't realize that you have something that you need to make change, then people will feel that the entire effort is going down the drain. I mean, it's not going to be effective because, first of all, I need to admit that I have a performance issue. I have a weakness that I must fix. only then the learning can be illustrated or can be achieved. But if we don't see that, then it is completely impossible. And then we also have people who see the problem, but they don't see the solution. They see, yes, I have this problem, or we have this problem, but what is the solution? I don't see the solution. And the reason why they don't see is that in most global organization, or even in local organization, sometimes change becomes very constant, meaning then we will have leaders coming in and leaders go, leaders come and go, and every time when a leader comes in, then they will have a different vision for the organization. They will always go back and see that, okay, this has not worked in the past, we want to change it this way, and they will give various reasons why it did not work in the past. But I think that what we have done is that we changed the entire concept of not focusing on what has not worked in the past, but you focus on what has worked well in the past, and then where we need to improve. I think that is a better message that you can put to your employees. And then we also have people who see the problem, but they don't agree with the solution. One is they see the problem, they don't feel that there is a solution. Another point is that they see the problem, but they don't agree with the solution. So they may have different views. And these are the people that we taken into consideration on a more of like a focus group. We bring them into focus group, we challenge them, and we ask them, what would be your proposal, why do you think that this will not work, and what is your way of working. And we incorporated that in the action plans that we want to do in the change. And then we also had people who see the problem and the solution, but they resist because they don't feel that they are involved in finding the solution. So you will have a bunch of group that yeah, I have this problem, but I'm coming in, I'm getting my salary, and I'm going home, so it doesn't impact me. How does it I don't care if for example, if supply chain has an issue, that's not my problem. I'm in engineering and I'm doing my work. If that's a problem, they need to go and fix. I'm not part of it. And this kind of behavior, this kind of people's response will make change not possible. So we need to get them on board, or if that's not working, we need to make sure that they exit. I think that's a difficult way that you need to manage the change options. And the last one is, of course, you see the problem and solution, but you resist because you threatened by the solution. And this happens in a way that whenever that we want to go into digitalization, or we want to we want to go into a new method of working, and where you skip certain process, or where you will some people will feel that their role will become redundant, or some people will feel that their power or authority in that section becomes lesser of this change process, then they will become threatened, and they do not would like they won't be able to cooperate. So it is very important for people to see in the entire change process what is in it for them. How do they see themselves in the next couple of months or years when the change happens? How relevant will they still be for the business? And that is the most fundamental thing that we need to do with the people when we are going into a change process. And that's what has happened in our environment. So of course, I agree that the change experience is not easy, but it's doable. But there's a lot of actions that we need to do at every different level, and especially in committing to the employees, understanding them, hearing them, and making sure they are comfortable with the change, and also to align that what will be their position, what will be their contribution in the entire process, so that they become aware and they become part of the change. This has helped us very much in terms of moving forward. But just to remind the entire, for all of us, is that the change is not a quick process. It takes time, it takes a lot of effort, and every different solution that we have will come up with a different timeline that we need to spend in terms of making that work. Thank you.
Nava, I think in your model and also in your stories, you also mentioned about this mindset change, right?
Yes.
So, and then you also mentioned about the timeline is not something that we will see overnight. So in terms of the time that we spend on each part, which part do you think we are preparing to spend a bit longer in order to make the project a success, the change a success?
That's a very good question. If you look at the Kotter's 8-step model, there's an 8 steps, right? So the first 3 steps is the most important, because one is creating sense of urgency. Creating sense of urgency is the most difficult part, because 80 or 90% of your organization will feel that they are okay, they are doing just perfectly fine. It is very simple in the human nature, right? Until and unless you find something wrong with your body, you will not be able to go, you will not convince yourself to go and see a doctor until you have some kind of symptoms. So most of the time, even if it is not a normal cough or normal fever, you will feel that, hey, I'm just fine. This is just a normal cough and fever. I'm fine. Until it becomes to a larger, uh, a later stage when you completely cannot take that within your body, then you will seek go you will try to go and seek and visit a doctor. It's a human nature. So that's absolutely what will happen in the organization level as well. People will feel that we are okay. Why we need to change? Everything is doing fine. We are making money. Everything is okay. But normally the top level leaders will look at, yes, you are okay now, but will you be okay in the next 10 years? Because that's their KPI. That's what they need to fix. That's what they need to think to be sustainable in a long term. People don't do business just for today. People are doing business so that they can be sustainable and they can grow along the line. To become a more successful company. So that is the biggest fundamental problem, and that will take a lot of time. Number two is that to form the people who will embark with you in the change process. This is again managing resistance. So people need to be comfortable that this will not impact them, and how it will not impact them. If it impacts, what will be the level of impact to them? They need to clearly understand that. And you will definitely have people who would not want to be part of the change process, and you need to understand what you're going to do with them. So it will take time. And then you develop a conscious vision and mission, because of course you will have the big picture. This is what we want to achieve for the company. Now you need to cascade it to the different level organization and different level of people, and how it will impact them, how it will make sense to them is the bigger picture of developing the inspiring vision. So these three steps, in my opinion, will become the fundamental, and it will take a lot of time. And once you achieve that with a structured plan, then you can move into the next step. So in typically, for a change to happen at an organizational level, a minimum, or probably we are looking at least 3 to 5 years for it to be effective.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for the sharing. So Mira, what is your story?
What's my story? Have I lost? Hello?
Yeah. We are all ears. Yes.
Okay, sorry. What's my story? Okay, maybe we have done a lot of changes and reasonably successful. But maybe I'll just take one simple area. Okay, we come from a hospitality industry. We work 24 hours, 365 days. Our doors never shut. So the employees are constantly working. And if you really read about statistics of hospitality industry, the turnover is high, and it's very difficult to get talent in there because of the long hours that you need to clock in. So we in HR, or rather the management team, basically the HR team was entrusted, create a fun working place. Okay, how do we convert this place that is almost 24 hours working, and even getting people together was tough. So so this is what we actually worked on, and we how shall I say? Yes, we have established it. And how we did was we created a huge amount of employee engagement activities. In some ways, we created the theme of every day is a HR day, okay? So we have something going on either in training or in games or in employee engagement or creating new social corners for employees. Whether it's running around looking for money, you know, we were also given a recycling project where we could churn money out. So each and every employee was, of course, we have loads of meeting. We throw in lots of food. We throw in lots of goodies, and we try to get people together. Initially, how shall I say, the attendance was small, less, and many were just standing out there and looking at us like, look, how are you going to establish? How could we make this industry, this hotel, into one that is so fun? But as they saw a few having fun, more came in and more came in and more came in. today I can safely say, I literally have to stop people from coming in because we have too many that has actually flooded. And how we accomplished it was basically just through activities. Left, right, center, we were organizing activities, we were fighting for things. And of course, the owners were also open and receptive to some of our ideas. Sometimes change doesn't come from the top, it comes from the bottom up. And loads of these changes came from bottom up, where the management had no alternative but accepted it, embraced it. They also pumped some money because they saw improvement. Of course, when people are happy to come to work, you also find productivity improving, okay? So we were able to tie some of this. Our turnover also reduced to some extent. I won't say 100%, but you could see more and more people staying on with us rather than leaving because we used to have a high turnover. We have so many little social corners for employees. We have movie nights, we have outings. Of course, not everybody goes together because of the nature of our industry, but we try to find time. The heads of department work strongly. The employees come up with loads of ideas. I think we could safely say like we have dancing, singing, you name it, whatever that makes an employee happy. So we did change the culture of the organization from one that was so work-based to one that is work and happy-based. Maybe I could say it that way. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I love seeing more about your, I love hearing more about your stories, like how do you make your working place a fun one, and
Yes, yes.
lots of stuff, and also the magic of reducing the staff turnover rate, right?
Sorry, I can't hear you a little bit.
Okay. So Mira, so what I'm saying is that I really love to hear more about your stories, how you play this kind of magic. Say,
Oh, this magic, yeah, I call it magic. Yes, yeah. And actually, Rita, just to on Monday is our dinner and dance. Okay, we have the employee appreciation day. Once, maybe about 3 years ago. Okay, this is maybe at least about 3 years of project that I've worked on. 3 years ago, it was so tough to get anybody there to even dance or sing or create something, and we have to bring outside talent. So we turned it around. It's inside talents. 3 years later today, I mean, yesterday I was still there till about 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. And because I could see like almost every single person is running in and trying to get involved, because what we did was we started with, of course, there's a lot of resistance initially, right? So we started with just small numbers. Okay, if I got 10, okay, let the 10 have fun. Suddenly you find the 10 became 15, 20. Today, like on Monday, I have to actually have auditions to cancel out those who are not good. You know what I mean? Because too many people want to participate in the dinner and dance function. There's too many dancers, too many singers, too many shows, until we had to have an audition yesterday, and we have to knock people out. Now we only can get the superior quality to go up on the stage. But it was fun. Getting there is fun. I mean, everybody's happy. Everybody's jumping around. Everybody's looking forward to going out to dress and look for costumes and things like that. Something that I never had a few years ago. I just never had it. But today we have it. And of course, some of these changes are bottom down. Like I said, we wanted a brand new cafeteria. Everybody was complaining the employee cafeteria was not up to mark. So we managed to put the proposal up, and we managed to win the hearts of the owner. We had most of the items we want. We followed a lot of these ideas that if you follow the, I think many of you may have been following this office snapshots, and they have loads of brand new cafeterias that is done in North America, all throughout which is showcased in there. So I incorporated a lot of ideas. We took out as much as we could, but not everything. Budget is a constraint. And we have a brand new, and my employees can't wait for the opening because it's still under construction. And everybody's already excited with almost 70% of what they see that is already lined up. It's all gone glass, and we have incorporated so many things. And in terms of, we also came up with a new, of course, weekly room. Every day from about 3 to 5 is like between shifts, and it's a slightly low period in the hotel. We have loads of games, drinks, food piped in, things like that. So you find more and more people coming to get recharged in these corners and going back. And we feel that in some ways you de-stress people at the workplace, because work sometimes can be a drag coming to work. And I think my owners also say that, yes, they could see a major shift in the employees' pulse in terms of they're happy. When we have meetings and surveys, many of them even come back to tell us like, look, we're really happy with all these changes. But what I in HR do is I generally tell them the changes came from you. You are the human resources of the hotel. You built the HR department up. So you built all this up. So I think most of the time you need to make this change, make them feel it's theirs, although you are the one instrumental, or the leaders are instrumental in ensuring that it's in place. But I feel making them feel that change is theirs and they brought it to the table, they brought the changes to the workplace, you would find you will get their support a lot more easier.
Yeah, that is true. So if I remember correctly, you have recently got an award, right?
Yeah, we also got
What
an
is,
award
yeah,
for
what is it about? Yeah.
it was excellence in workplace culture. This is the change that we got. The culture changed through a huge number of activities that we organized. Of course, it's really tiring, it's exhausting, but other departments look at the HR like as if we are doing nothing but partying every day. But there's a lot of work that goes in there. We bring a lot of colors, of course, we are a food industry, so we are quite fortunate in that sense. I have chefs, I have many of the good chefs there, and they would pipe in the best foods, whatever menus we gave. And being a hospitality industry, we also provide free meals to staff. It's a necessity. So we changed all the food plans, we changed the food, we changed the recipe, I mean, not the recipes in terms of menu. And it's a lot more well received. And basically, we didn't really increase the cost, we just changed certain things, and we made it more exciting. We played around with the costings, but we still managed to have the budgets within the budgets. In fact, there was even savings, surplus and savings, which also, I mean, the hotel management or the owners were quite kind, say, okay, the savings are still belong to for other activities. They don't take it back. So we also have a pool of fund there growing for us. So it's not too bad, and we get to manage this fund on ourselves with some minimal approval. Otherwise, yes, that's one of the reasons why we won the Excellence in Workplace Culture, because we brought in all these changes in there. You can follow us on Instagram. You can see all the back of the scene photos of what we are doing, the activities we are doing. So I think that's a good way. And along with this, activities and funds and meetings that we have, whatever bigger changes that the management wants, it's slowly lifted in. It's slowly lifted in, so employees don't feel so threatened about it. And most of the time, and certain jobs have gone, and we have brought in new jobs into the workplace. So it's like, how shall I say, it's a very subtle, gentle way of bringing that change and embracing it and making it look or feel that sometimes they don't even know the changes are taking place, but it's already like they've already blended in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because we've gently lifted them into it, so they don't even realize things have changed, but actually things have changed. So we overcome the resistance part of it. If you just go down there and say, oh, if we're going to bring this A, B, C, D, it will be tough. But through these activities, the changes came in,
Yeah.
And of course, riding on the people who took the initiative to change, and the others who are watching from the outside and seeing, oh, it's actually quite exciting to embrace these new changes that the company is bringing. So then you find more and more people going in, and the resistance is less. And like I said, my dinner and dance on Monday, I even have to shortlist people. We've already reached a point that we are shortlisting, and we say everybody cannot go there because it's just too many up there. You know what I mean? But this didn't happen overnight. It took about 3-4 years, I think. Slowly by slowly, we have brought it in.
Wow. Thank you very much for sharing with us. It's such a successful story.
I'm also very happy. And honestly, being in HR, it's fun going back to work for myself too, rather than doing the routine. I mean, we all have our routine jobs, the recruitment, the training and everything. But when you have all these activities, it's like I always tell them, it's like every day is a HR day. Okay, we try to do something. Whether it's a new drink in the vending machine, it's HR day. With everybody trying out the new drinks. So it creates conversation. It brings people together. It brings of course, all the conflict management is dissolved there. I mean, of course, in an organization, we always can't get a. I mean, people can't get a.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you very much for the sharing of from our panel today. Thank you, Mira. Thank you, Nava. Thank you, June, and also the other audience of the day. And I'm going to actually this session is being recorded, and once it's done, I will send the video clip to our speakers today, and I'll also show it in our FB group, so that other people also be benefited from the stories, also some of the tips and keys mentioned by our speakers today. Okay, so let's I can say that let's conclude our session today. Thanks again for the speaker today, and have a nice weekend. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
Okay,
you,
thank you. Bye
thank you,
bye.
everyone. Thank
Thanks. Bye
you,
bye.
thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye
Bye bye.
bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.